Okay, you guys, what is up? King Lightning gonna do One Piece Chapter 661 review. Now, what I'm gonna do this week, and only this week only, I'm going to do strictly reviews, no synopsis. There will be no synopsis, just like a review of the overall chapter, how I felt about it, and so on and so forth, and like a few key points. So, first of all, what I do want to say is that this chapter, in my opinion, it was okay. There was a lot of stuff that in this chapter, like, it was very strange. Law's ability, that is, you know what? Yeah, so let me get to the few key points, alright? Because Law's ability is, it's crazy, alright? It's crazy. But it makes a lot of sense. But that being said, the first key point I want to bring up is that when we see the cover page, we see Hanyaba being the new warden of Impel Down. That is a clear indication that Magellan might have moved up to Admiral. And the reason why I say that is because, well, because they lost, well, no, they didn't lose two admirals, but one of them quit, and then one moved up to Fleet Admiral, which means that there's two spots of Admiral left. Magellan could fit one of them. Easy. So, Magellan, in my opinion, is an Admiral. I don't see why not. That's my take on that. The next thing I want to bring up is during the conflict with, because what happens is that, well, you guys all know about Brownbeard, because what happens is that Luffy has a confrontation with the Centaurs, and the leader of the Centaurs is this person named Brownbeard. It's obvious, right? Brownbeard, his bounty went up by like 600,000, but, you know, not a big deal. Brownbeard, he was an individual who went around ransacking Whitebeard's territories once Whitebeard died, and then he confronted with Basil Hawkins, and then we have no idea what happened to him after that. But clearly, he was taken in by Law at some point, and Law is now utilizing him as a head centaur, and that's Brownbeard right there. The next thing I want to mention is that when we see the lake, because apparently the lake, and this is a big-ass lake. I didn't notice how big it was until they did a eagle eye shot of it, and we see Brownbeard. Brownbeard is a big dude. Well, he's a big centaur, and he's like a speck. He's like a speck in the shore of that lake. This lake is huge, and apparently this lake was the epicenter of the battle between Akainu and Aokiji. This is where the shit went down, the lake. What I will say is that it's very, because obviously the powers of these two admirals, or correction, the powers of these two former admirals were immense, because there was a huge lake, and then they created a rift where the rift reached the sea and all the seawater flooded inside the lake. That's crazy. That's power, all right? And what's happening is that throughout the entire time, Luffy they basically, because Brownbeard shot the water, instead of actually shooting at their ship, or no, their banana boat, Brownbeard shoots at the water, and then he capsizes their banana boat, and then Zoro, well, basically Luffy and Robin are out because it's seawater, and Zoro and Usopp are trying to, you know, struggle back on shore, and then Zoro gets taken by some sharks. Now, the next thing I want to point out is that they do manage to escape, but before that what happens is something very interesting, is that they mention the worst generation, okay? Because Brownbeard notices that it's Monkey D. Luffy, and he is a rookie from the worst generation. And the worst generation, to me, is a clear indication that during that time, because remember, a lot of stuff happened during that time when Luffy was a rookie, alright? First of all, it starts at the beginning at Enies Lobby. Enies Lobby, Luffy went in there, he wrecked Enies Lobby, he destroyed it. I mean, basically, all the three major functioning powers of the world government were hit during that generation. Enies Lobby got destroyed by Monkey D. Luffy and his crew, in a way. Impel Down suffered a huge loss of most of their top-tier prisoners, and also Blackbeard went in there. Yeah, Blackbeard, who was a Shibukai. Oh yeah, that too, yeah. They lost like 3 or 4 Shibukai. The Tenryubi got hit, because, yeah, like, I forgot their names, but, it was one Tenryubi family. I think it was like maybe like the Rosario family. I'm not too sure. But they got like decimated by Luffy. Luffy took out, you know, the Tenryubi. Then we have Marine 4, which was, again, almost decimated by Whitebeard and his crew. So a lot of stuff happened in that generation. A lot of stuff happened. So I can see why it's called the worst generation. Because the world government took a lot of hits in a lot of different directions. They lost Shibukai. They lost admirals like Aokiji. The three functioning powers got hit. So the worst generation, clearly an indication of the chaotic era that Luffy was a part of. The next thing I want to bring up, and the last final thing, is going to be Trafalgar's Law ability, alright? His Ope Ope no Mi, alright? This to me, yeah, OP, right? Ope Ope no Mi. And this is some crazy stuff. This is some crazy stuff, because Law, basically, during the fight between Smoker and Law, this was a good fight. It's a really good fight. But what happens is, you see Sanji and the rest of the guys, they're running away because they don't want to be a part of this fight. And as they're reaching the end of the circle, Law stabs. And all of a sudden, it's like their hearts just come out, and then he does the shambles, and then all of a sudden, they switch bodies. It's really weird. It's like, I don't know if it was their heart or if it was their souls shaped as hearts, but their personalities switch bodies. Now, Sanji's and Nami, Chopper's and Sanji, Nami's and Frankie, which is really weird, and then Frankie's and Chopper. And that's how things are turning out right now. So at some point, Law is going to have to fix that. And people are saying how Law could have possibly taken out Luffy's heart during the operation. Maybe. I don't see it happening, but it is a possibility at this point, now that we know the true extent of his powers. So maybe. I'm not going to say for sure, because Oda could pull that off. He could. But, again, at this point, it's a maybe. And also, his ability, when he's basically screwing over Smoker's crew big time. I mean, big time. Like, they're trying to combat Law, and Law is systematically picking them apart. Smoker himself is doing just fine, but his crew members, they're getting slaughtered. He winds up cutting them all in half, but they're not dead. And then Tashigi runs in there and gets sliced in two. I was like, yo, Law. So that was crazy right there. But honestly, I will say though, his Devil Fruit is really interesting, because his room because it's called the operating room, where everything in that room can be manipulated by Trafalgar Law. The Ope Ope no Mi gives him the ability to manipulate anything within the circumference of his circle. So that's crazy stuff, all right? So Law, and I mean, obviously his ability is going to, his strength is going to basically coincide with how large his operating room can be. At some point, I'm pretty sure, at some point in a distant future, don't be surprised if he can make a giant operating room where he can, you know, manipulate an entire island. But that being said, okay, Chapter One Piece. I'll see you guys later. King of Lightning, rate, comment, subscribe. Signing off. Peace.